Hi Year 5, so this is week commencing the 4th of May, okay? I'm only going to do one English lesson on YouTube this week because what I've done is I've put them all on the website. So you can see lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there, okay? Also, this Thursday, it's the VE day, so we're going to be putting work on the website for that as well. So make sure you check that out. There'll be different activities on there, okay? Now, I've got an example of the highwayman here because the skill I want to focus on is how to create atmosphere using settings, okay? Now settings is basically, a setting is a place where something happens, okay? So in your story, you will think of a setting, a place, okay? There may be different settings throughout your story. There should be different settings throughout your story. So your story may begin in a house. It may begin walking through a woods. It may begin at a beach. It could begin in a variety of different places. And in that, you will try and create an atmosphere, whether it's an atmosphere of joy and celebration, whether it's a spooky atmosphere. Now, in The Highwayman, the setting is, if you imagine it, it's a road, a little road that's looping the Purple Moor. Okay, it's dark, the moon is in the sky, and there's clouds passing in front of it. It's windy, and you can hear it. And the writer creates an atmosphere using this setting, okay? He uses descriptive language to do it as well. It's really important. So the use of descriptive language to create atmosphere. Atmosphere in this setting, okay, where the poem begins. It's a narrative poem. It's on the website, again, under English lessons, week commencing the 4th of the 5th. So you'll find it there. The wind was a torrent of darkness upon the gusty trees. So you've got the word darkness, torrent of darkness. So key use of vocab to create that effect. The moon was a ghostly galleon. Why does he use the word ghostly? Because the author wants to get across a spooky, dark atmosphere at the start of this poem. We talked about what a galleon was, that it's an old ship tossed upon cloudy seas, meaning that it looks like the moon is kind of being tossed on the clouds. What the writer's actually saying is that the clouds are passing in front of the moon. Okay, he's using a metaphor. Okay, a metaphor to describe the moon. However, the setting then changes. So it starts off with the highwayman riding on this ribbon road. It's called a ribbon. Looping the Purple Moor, sets the scene, tells us what the sky's like, tells us that the wind is blowing, what the weather's like, and it creates a spooky atmosphere. Okay, so here a setting is used to create an atmosphere. In your skills, in the summer skills for year 5, one of the skills is my settings are used not only to create atmosphere, so in other words, you should be creating atmosphere in your settings by the use of descriptive language. And we've talked about descriptive language already. Okay, so that can be fronted adverbials, expanded noun phrases, adjectives, adverbs, verbs, similes, metaphors. So then we're going into stylistic devices, which are also, if you like, part of descriptive language. All of these can be used to bring an atmosphere, okay, into a setting. And your use of specific vocab. If you want to create a spooky atmosphere, you need to be choosing words that are going to help create that. Like in the poem, The Highwayman, the author chooses the word darkness, darkness upon the gusty trees. And then he uses the word ghostly galleon, alliteration, ghostly galleon, a tossed upon cloudy seas, also a metaphor. And he's using that word ghostly because he wants to create a spooky atmosphere. So it's being descriptive, but you being very selective and thoughtful in the words that you are using to create that atmosphere in that setting, in that place. That's all a setting is. It's a place. It could be a house. It could be a haunted house. It could be a wood. It could be on the beach, in a cave. Okay, setting is just where something is happening. All right. So our settings are really important in story writing. You need to have a setting. You need to have a place. And the settings will change as your stories develop. So you might start off in a particular place and then the setting will change. It might be that you start off in your house, and then you leave your house and walk, and that journey is the next setting. And then you might arrive at school and the story unfolds there, and that school is your next setting. And what's important in year 5 is that, yes, we create atmosphere in our settings, but not only that, it's also that we use our settings to indicate change. Indicate change. Now, what kind of change are we talking about here? Okay, well, let me look at the Highwayman poem, for example, because this is a narrative poem. It's a poem that tells a story. The first setting that we've already discussed is quite spooky. He's riding on his own, thin little road, looping the purple moor, moonlit sky, and he's on a journey somewhere. That's our first setting. Now, as we read on, okay, we realise that the setting has changed in stanza 3 of the Highwayman poem. It's changed to to be at the dark inn yard. So he's in the inn now. He's travelled on horseback to the inn. And here the setting is completely different. And the writer has used this setting to move the poem forward, to change something. Okay, so we have a change now in storyline. We have a change in events. We have a change in atmosphere. We have a change in characters because of the new setting. Okay, so this new setting introduces 2 new characters to us. It introduces Bess and it introduces Tim the ostler to us. Okay, let me read it to you. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the dark inn yard. He tapped with his whip on the shutters, but all was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. That's not spooky anymore, is it? That's not scary anymore. This is now romantic. Completely different atmosphere here. Different setting, different scenario, different scene. Story has moved forward. He's now meeting Bess, the landlord's daughter. And there's a romance between the highwayman and Bess, who's leaning out of a window. While this is going on, Tim the ostler, and an ostler we discussed in class was somebody who tended to the horses. Okay, so the different travellers that would come to the inn, they would leave their horses in the stables, and the ostler was the person who would look after the horses for the guests who were staying in the inn. And we talked about this, and Tim the ostler was jealous because he was in love with Bess, and he was watching, and his eyes were well, I think it says hollows of madness. Later on it says, yes, his eyes were hollows of madness. It's because he was in love with Bess, and he was jealous that the highwayman was talking to her. I mean, this has taken the story forward, hasn't it? This change of setting has moved our story forward. Okay, it's added new drama to it. It's added a new element to it. Jealousy has now appeared. A new character. We've now got a story that's unfolding before us because of this new setting. So that is really what it means to use settings, okay, to indicate change. Using settings to indicate change. So here's an example. The story starts, we're all in the house. It's peaceful, everyone's chilled, watching TV, nothing unusual is happening. That's how the story starts. A normal family. The following day, Sam decides he's going to go out for a walk and meet up with one of his friends. Change of setting. He's walking now with his friend. Still quite happy, light-hearted, excited. They're going for a walk in the dark forest. They arrive in the dark forest. This is our third setting. The atmosphere changes. The writer is using this dark forest to bring the story forward and to change the atmosphere. Okay, the setting is being used to indicate change. Change in storyline, change in atmosphere, change in mood. Atmosphere and mood, they mean the same thing. Okay? Change in the storyline. I probably said that already. So, what's going to happen in this forest is they're going to meet a bear. And this change in setting is going to cause a massive drama to unfold in this story. Now, the writers already decided that. The writers got their settings sorted. They know where the story's starting. They understand the journey to the Dark Forest, that's going to also be quite a positive, nice, happy experience for both of the characters. As they near the Dark Forest, things are going to change. And that setting is going to indicate a change. It's changing from happy to scary. It's changing from happy to, well, I suppose, not so much, spooky. It's a dark forest. So, yes, it could be spooky. So, instead of happy and sunny, it's going into scary and spooky. And from a place of safety, it's now going to become dangerous. Okay? That is a setting that's indicating change. All right? They're not necessarily going to meet a new character in the woods. They're going to meet a bear. And this bear is going to end up chasing them. And from then on, the story will unfold. Now, that is an example of a setting bringing the story forward, indicating change. It might be a change in time. It might be a change in a character. It might be a change in atmosphere. It just might be a change in events, different events happening as the story unfolds. So in Year 5, we need to make sure, basically, that our settings not only create an atmosphere, but that they are used to change the storyline and to move it forward, to change a situation, to change an atmosphere, to change an event. Okay, maybe something more dramatic might unfold, but it's going to happen in a new setting. And that setting is used to add that drama. So, for example, I deliberately chose, in that little story I just made up on the spot there, I deliberately chose to use a dark, spooky forest for the dramatic event of being chased by a bear, to add to that. And it wouldn't be so exciting if the characters had got chased by a bear when they were, having a nice picnic out when it was all sunny and happy, and then a bear came. Yes, it would still be scary, but I wanted it to be even more scary. I wanted that event to happen in a dark forest where nobody was about. It was just them and this terrifying beast. Okay, who was chasing after them, and they were running for their lives. They couldn't shout for help because nobody's around. So I've chosen that setting to move my story forward. Now, after the forest, maybe they escape, and then maybe they find themselves in another location, and then the story unfolds further. Okay, maybe they go somewhere where they meet another character, and then that will take the story in a different direction. So it's using settings carefully. So, this week now, as you begin to do these lessons will take you through how to create atmosphere, what is a setting, how to create a setting, how to create atmosphere in a setting using descriptive language. They will then take you forward onto how to indicate change in a setting. And by the end of the week, you should be able to write a story. Okay? And that story should really have 4 different settings in it, at least. That's 4 different paragraphs. And with each setting, okay, in your story, you can do a retell if you want of one of your favourite books, that's fine. You can make up a story like I did just now. But I want you to move the story forward in each setting. I want you to think of where's the story going to be opening? Is it going to be is the opening going to be in a house? Is it going to be in school? You know, is it going to be in a playing field? Is it going to be in a park? Where's the opening going to happen? What is going to, how is the next setting going to bring the story forward? So it's going to start in a park, then they're going to go to somewhere else. Where are they going to go next? Are they going to go to the beach? How is the story going to move forward? What changes are going to happen because of that new location in the storyline? Okay. Using settings to create atmosphere and indicate change. Okay, change in time, change in events, change in mood, in atmosphere, change in a character, the introduction of new characters. All of these can be brought in simply by changing a setting, changing where a story is taking place. Okay, so that is really the focus of this week, to get atmosphere in and make sure that your settings change something, change the storyline, move it forward onto something new. Okay, that's what we're really looking at this week. All right, I think we'll leave it there. I just want to say a quick thank you to all those who are sending in their lovely artwork to me. There's some fantastic Andy Goldsworthy. I can't even. I think that's right. Oh, I'm running out. I'll tell you. So those who have sent me in their artwork, amazing, and I've been putting some of those on the website, and I've really enjoyed looking at your rockets as well that you've done. A big shout out to Dylan. Well done, Dylan, for sending me that story. It was fantastic. I loved reading it. It was really, really good. Really fantastic effort, Dylan. Well done. Mikey, I've been getting loads of works emailed from you. Well done, Mikey. Keep up the hard work, okay? So special shout out to those two who have been sending me a number of different things they've been doing at home. So well done. And I'm sure all the rest of you are still, working hard and keeping up as with the Year 5 skills as best you can anyway. Okay, so I'll leave you there now. And I trust that, you stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.